Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News this Monday morning with me, Frank Pereira, on Rajya Sabha television. Here are this morning's headlines. Terror strike on Army and BSF camps in Baramulla and Jammu and Kashmir. One jawan killed, 2 terrorists neutralized. Attack closed on the heels of surgical strikes on terror launch pads. Nepal asked SAARC member countries to not allow its soil to be used for cross-border terror. Regrets regional environment not conducive for holding summit. India ratifies Paris climate deal, becomes 62nd country to do so. UN and US welcome the move and call it a bold and decisive step. Joint session of state legislature called by Karnataka after it sticks to its position on Kaveri water row. State to file review petition in the Supreme Court today. And voters in Colombia reject hard-won peace deal with FARC guerrillas. Setback for President Juan Manuel Santos, who was confident of a yes vote. Well, one BSF jawan has been killed and another injured in a suicide attack on a BSF and adjoining army camps in Baramulla in Jammu and Kashmir. 2 terrorists have also been killed. The attack comes close on the heels of India's surgical strikes at terror launch pads across the line of control. The terrorists gained entry into the 46RR camp through the adjoining BSF camp. They fired indiscriminately and lobbed grenades as well. During the firing, 2 BSF jawans were injured who were rushed to a nearby hospital. One of the personnel succumbed to injuries at the operation table. The attack took place at the army camp at Jabanspora in Baramulla and the firing was still on. The skies in Baramulla saw illuminators being fired by the army to locate the terrorists who had sneaked into the 46th Battalion of the Rashtriya Rifles. Reports also said there was some firing from adjacent houses located near the camp, which is located on the banks of the river Jhelum. This is the second such attack within a fortnight after terrorists struck an army camp in Uri, in which 19 soldiers were killed.
It only shows Pakistan's frustration and desperation. Despite international condemnation, Pakistan continues to use terrorists as a weapon of war. Obviously, these terrorists are extensions of the Pakistani army, despite all their denials, and they need to be now declared as a terrorist sponsoring state and appropriate sanctions imposed on them.
Well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh will undertake a 2-day visit to the Ladakh region. This is part of the centre's outreach to Jammu and Kashmir. During the visit, Singh will interact with a cross-section of people. Singh will hold meetings with delegations of political parties, civil society groups and individuals in Leh today. He will be in Kargil on October 4th and will take suggestions of people from various groups on the resolution of Kashmir issue. This will be the 4th visit of the Home Minister to Jammu and Kashmir ever since the unrest began in the state following the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen militant Burhan Wani on July 8th. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India has not attacked any country and neither it is hungry to grab anyone's land, yet thousands of Indians gave their lives in the First and Second World War for others. Inaugurating Pravasi Bharatiya Kendra in New Delhi, Modi said humanity is a principal inspiration for India and the world has acknowledged this. The Prime Minister's comments came in the backdrop of Pakistan's constant clamour for highlighting the Kashmir issue at the international fora. Modi lamented that despite the great price, the country could not make the world realize the importance of its sacrifice. He said whenever he was abroad, he made it a point to visit the memorials of Indian soldiers.
देश कभी जमीन का भूखा नहीं रहा है। इस देश ने कभी भी दुनिया में कहीं आक्रमण नहीं किया है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी किसी और के लिए 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा हमारे जवान प्रथम और द्वितीय विश्व युद्ध में शहीद हो गए। 1.5 लाख संख्या कम नहीं होती है जी।
Meanwhile, Nepal has said that member states of the SAARC must ensure their terrorists are not used for cross-border terrorism. This comes after 5 member nations of SAARC pulled out of the summit slated to be held in Islamabad on November 19. Nepal said that it is the current chair of the SAARC also regretted that the regional environment is not conducive for hosting the summit. In a statement, the Nepal Foreign Affairs Ministry said that Nepal unequivocally condemns the terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and expresses its solidarity in the global fight against terrorism. SAARC member states must, among others, ensure that their respective territories are not used by terrorists for cross-border terrorism. Nepal said that it will initiate necessary consultations for holding the next summit. India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka pulled out of the summit, indirectly blaming Pakistan for creating an environment which was not right for the success of the meet. New initiatives to clean public places, rewarding the impact makers and fresh pledges to meet the 2019 target of a clean India marked the day as the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi completed 2 years on Gandhi Jayanti. From Puducherry to Rajkot to his constituency Varanasi, the Prime Minister shared on Twitter pictures and videos of cleanliness drives and awareness campaigns held across the country by locals. Porbandar, the birthplace of Mahatma Gandhi, and nearly 170 towns in Gujarat were declared open defecation free on the birth anniversary of the father of the nation. Andhra Pradesh became the second state after Gujarat to declare all its municipalities ODF under the Swachh Bharat initiative and earned an incentive of 186 crore rupees from the centre. Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu flagged off the Swachhata rally from India Gate. Celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan joined cleanliness campaigns launched by media and corporate houses, with the superstar saying that if Indians pledge to clean 10 yards around them, soon Modi's vision of a Swachh Bharat can turn into reality. Union ministers, chief ministers and state ministers joined people in the cleanliness drives. Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal helped in cleaning the Kamakhya temple, while Union Ministers Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi and Kiran Rijiju were in action at a school in Delhi.
Mahatma Gandhi said that Swachhata is more powerful than freedom movement because it takes care of our health also, environment also, and public life also will be good. Keeping that in mind, as a Minister for Information Broadcasting and Urban Development, I repeat the call of the Honorable Prime Minister. I call upon the people of the country that every Indian citizen, irrespective of age, sex, religion and region, should become a Swachhagrahi. Everybody should take part in this Clean India campaign.
Well, all members of the Karnataka cabinet and members of the state legislature will hold a meeting today to discuss last week's directive of the Supreme Court, which asked the state to release 6,000 cusecs of water to neighbouring Tamil Nadu. Karnataka will also be filing a review petition in the Supreme Court today against the constitution of the Kaveri Management Board.
Calling the constitution of the Kaveri Water Management Board by the Supreme Court as defective, the Karnataka government will file a review petition in the Apex Court today. Unrelenting in its position, despite the fresh Supreme Court order to release 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu, Karnataka cabinet will convene a second legislature session today to take a call on the Apex Court directive. This after opposition parties in Karnataka on Saturday asked the Siddaramaiah government not to release 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu as directed by the Supreme Court at any cost.
Interstate Water Dispute Act 6(1) Class 7 is very clear. It has to be made by the act of a parliament. I think it has not been submitted by any of the parties before the Supreme Court. I think that is the ground that for us, and we'll go for a revision.
We wanted to appeal to the ground reality. There will be a very difficult and it will a strong message will go against the central government and the state government if they form this board, which was uncalled for.
Defending his state's inability to release any more water, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has said that his state was the victim and not the villain in the Kaveri River water row. He also said water in the 4 Kaveri reservoir in the state was inadequate and the state government's first priority was to meet the drinking water requirements of the people of the Kaveri basin.
Kaveri basin alli bandirtakkanta ellaru ಇಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೆಳೆ ಒಣಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರು ಬಿಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಇದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಒತ್ತಾಯ.
On Friday, the Supreme Court had reprimanded Karnataka for its repeated defiance by flouting its orders on water release to Tamil Nadu. However, Siddaramaiah has maintained that the state is bound by the resolution passed by the Assembly and has not defied the Supreme Court's order. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, India has become the 62nd nation to ratify the Paris climate deal. The documents were handed over on Sunday to the United Nations on the occasion of Mahatma Gandhi's anniversary. The UN and the US have welcomed the move.
India formally ratifying the landmark Paris climate deal. Permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Syed Akbaruddin, handing over the instrument of ratification signed by President Pranab Mukherjee to Santiago Villalpando, the head of the Treaties Division at the UN. The special ceremony, attended by top UN officials and senior diplomats, to commemorate Mahatma Gandhi's 147th birth anniversary on Sunday. The UN welcoming India's move, in a statement saying, bringing the Paris Agreement on climate change ever closer to its entry into force, India today joined the new global accord at the United Nations headquarters and became the 62nd country to deposit its instrument of ratification. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon lauding India's climate leadership, saying India's ratification of the Paris Climate Change Agreement moves the world an important step closer towards achieving the goal of entering the landmark deal into force this year. The Secretary General also saying there is no better way to commemorate Gandhi and his legacy for people and the planet. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeting, care and concern towards nature is integral to the Indian ethos. India is committed to doing everything possible to mitigate climate change. US President Barack Obama welcoming the move, tweeting, Gandhiji believed in a world worthy of our children. In joining the Paris Agreement, Narendra Modi and the Indian people carry on that legacy. The US has said that by joining the Paris Climate Agreement, India has taken a bold and decisive step in combating climate change. France too welcomed India's move to ratify the treaty. India's step has also been lauded by several green bodies. The ratification formalizes pledges made by each country, including India, to take actions to curb or lower greenhouse gas emissions from 2020 onwards and try to keep the rise in average global temperature below 2 degrees Celsius and to strive for 1.5 degrees Celsius. India, the world's third biggest carbon emitter after China and the US, which are responsible for around 40% of the global carbon emissions, accounts for 4.1% of global emissions. Last month, the US and China had formally joined the Paris Agreement, which was adopted by 195 countries to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change last December in Paris. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
India and Vietnam have entered into a comprehensive strategic partnership.
A comprehensive strategic partnership captures the intent and path of our future cooperation.
Can the two nations contribute to the stability of Southeast Asia?
Most of the challenges to its development and security comes from the maritime domain.
Both the nations are fighting out the hegemony of China in subtle terms, not very openly.
Watch our special report, New Delhi to Hanoi, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, on the first day of his two-day visit to Kolkata, Vice President Mohamed Hamid Ansari attended the canonization celebration of Mother Teresa as chief guest on Sunday. He will depart for Pune today after delivering the Indira Gandhi Memorial Lecture of the Asiatic Society.
At an event to celebrate the canonization of St Teresa in Kolkata on Sunday, Vice President Mohamed Hamid Ansari said the mother never admonished her critics. He also pointed out that much before her formal canonization as St Teresa of Calcutta last month, she was already a saint for the people of India.
She undertook her work with love and commitment, provided dignity and respect to those who had been defeated by life. She was a messiah of the poor and a pillar of support for the weak and suffering.
The Vice President further said that St Teresa addressed complex questions about the meaning of life by reducing it to the simple practice of alleviating the pain of others.
St Teresa was an embodiment of compassion. She addressed the complex questions about the meaning of life by reducing it to the simple practice of alleviating the pain of others.
Vice President Ansari said that the most fitting tribute to St Teresa and her compassionate legacy would be to continue with her relentless effort of caring for the poor, sick and the uncared, regardless of their religion or social status. This is Ravindra Shioran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the newly constituted 6-member Monetary Policy Committee will hold a 2-day meeting from today to review the 4th bi-monthly monetary policy for 2016-17. The committee is headed by RBI Governor Urjit Patel. The committee has 3 members from the RBI and 3 others nominated by the government. The committee will target to keep inflation at 4% with an upper and lower tolerance level of 2%. Each of the 6 members will have 1 vote. In the case of a tie, the RBI governor will have a casting vote in deciding on the rate as guided by the newly established inflation framework. However, he would not be able to veto a majority decision. Resolution of the committee will be placed on the website at 2:30 p.m. on October 4th. Well, let's take a look now at what's slated to make news during the course of the day in our segment, The Day Ahead. President Pranab Mukherjee will visit Gwalior today to preside over a function for distribution of keys and ownership certificates for EWS houses built under the Integrated Housing and Slum Development Project at Jivaji University. He will also be the chief guest at the 60th Founders Day celebrations of Sindhya Kanya Vidyalaya, Gwalior. Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Loong, accompanied by his wife, Madam Ho Ching, key ministers and senior officials will arrive in India today on a 5-day visit. During the visit, he will call on President Pranab Mukherjee and will hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He will also meet External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. In Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav will launch Samajwadi Vikas Rath Yatra. It is seen as a move to counter his uncle Shivpal Yadav, who has been appointed as the new state president of the party. Though details of the yatra are not yet known, it is expected that through this program, Akhilesh will highlight development works initiated by his government. Moving on, now Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan will be the chief guest at the Republic Day parade next year. Now, this was announced by External Affairs spokesperson Vikas Swarup on Sunday. The visit of Al Nahyan, who is also the Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, is expected to give boost to bilateral ties in the key areas of trade and security. It is also significant given that UAE is a close ally of Pakistan, whom India is trying to diplomatically isolate over the issue of cross-border terrorism. Later, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the invitation. In a letter to the Prime Minister, he said that the two countries' strong relations are deeply rooted in history. The Crown Prince said that India-Abu Dhabi strategic cooperation has increased, driven by mutual aspirations to develop it. Well, here's a look at what else is happening across the country in Nationwide. Expelled AAP leaders Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan launched a new political outfit. Swaraj India was launched on Sunday, and the leaders declared the party will contest Delhi civic polls but will skip the Punjab elections scheduled next year. They targeted Arvind Kejriwal, alleging that the Aam Aadmi Party has betrayed the common man. 10 people were killed and 17 others injured when a minibus in which they were travelling fell into the backwaters of a dam in Pali village in Madhya Pradesh. The deceased include 4 men, 3 women and 3 children. The victims drowned in the water, which was 20 to 25 meters deep, and the death toll could rise as the rescue operation was still on. Rebel RSS Goa leader Subhash Velinkar has floated a new party in Goa and vowed to defeat the BJP in the upcoming assembly polls. Velinkar announced the formation of the Goa Suraksha Manch after being removed as the Goa RSS chief on August 31st. He has been speaking against the BJP leaders over the issue of regional language. Marathwada, the central Maharashtra region which faced severe droughts in the last 4 years, now has a problem of plenty with incessant rains causing flooding in many parts of the region. Heavy rains lashing the region has led to flood-like situation in Latur, Bid and Nanded districts of the region, damaging kharif crops. Almost all the major and medium dams including Manjra, Ujjani and Terna are overflowing for the first time since 2010. Heavy rains threw vehicular traffic out of gear on the Aurangabad-Solapur National Highway. In a statement issued by the State Disaster Management Unit last evening, stated that rains had stopped and floodwaters had begun to recede. Now, Latur, which had received drinking water by railway wagons in April-May, has recorded rainfall of 73.9 mm on Sunday. 2 days after the Patna High Court quashed its order on prohibition, Bihar government on Sunday reinforced liquor ban in the state. The decision was taken in a special cabinet meeting chaired by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. According to the new law, Bihar Excise and Prohibition Act of 2016, the total liquor ban will continue in the state. The offences under the new act have been made non-bailable. Later, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said that after imposition of the ban on liquor in the state, financial condition of the people has been strengthened and behavioural social change across the state is being seen. On September 30th, the Patna High Court had struck down the state's Prohibition of Liquor Act, which banned the consumption of Indian-made foreign liquor and termed it as ultra vires.
पहले जो लागू किया हम लोगों ने वो एक्साइज एक्ट में अमेंडमेंट करके किया और एक्साइज एक्ट के अंतर्गत जो सरकार में शक्तियां निहित थी उसके द्वारा एक पॉलिसी बनाकर किया गया था, लेकिन यह तो अपने आप में कानून ही मद्य निषेध का है, तब यही कानून प्रभावी हो गया है।
महात्मा गांधी का सपना पूरा होगा, स्वच्छ भारत बनाओ, शराबबंदी करो, लेकिन शराबबंदी के नाम पर जो है गरीब को तबाह मत करो। इस कानून को हटाओ कि एक परिवार में जो व्यक्ति जो है जिसके हाथ में बोतल होगा पिएगा तो पूरा परिवार का लोग जेल जाएगा, जिस गांव में पकड़ा जाएगा पूरा गांव का लोग जेल जाएगा, इसको हटाओ।
Well, it's time for another quick breather on the program right now, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, in a move that has sent a wave of shock through Latin America, Colombian voters on Sunday rejected a peace deal that had been signed by their president Juan Manuel Santos and the largest rebel group, the FARC, leaving the fate of a 52-year-old war suddenly uncertain. The president had said that he did not have a plan B in case Colombians rejected the agreement that was reached after 4 years of intense negotiations.
It was supposed to be a historic moment. Last week, President Juan Manuel Santos and Timochenko, leader of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia or FARC, used pens made of recycled bullets to sign a deal ending a 52-year-old war, with FARC even apologizing on national television. But Colombians, it seems, have not forgiven them for the estimated 3 lakh lives lost during the war. The country on Sunday rejected the government deal with FARC guerrillas in a referendum, with 50.24% voting against it. Most of the no voters felt deal was not hard enough on FARC fighters and were skeptical about them receiving jail for their crimes. After the shock vote result, President Santos says ceasefire will remain in place, and rebels also vowed commitment to peace talks.
Las FARC mantienen su voluntad de paz y reiteran su disposición de usar solamente la palabra como arma de construcción hacia el futuro.
A todas las fuerzas políticas y en particular a las que se manifestaron hoy por el no, para escucharlas, para abrir espacios de diálogo y determinar el camino a seguir.
The verdict on the deal that was reached after 4 years of intense negotiations means it now cannot be implemented. The result is a big embarrassment for President Santos, who had been confident of a yes result. He had said that if Colombians reject the deal, he did not have a plan B, and that Colombia would return to war if no vote won. Government and rebels have also repeatedly said that the deal was the best they could achieve and a renegotiation would not be possible. But most of the no campaigners insist on exactly that.
Those agreements that allow complete impunity, including for atrocious crimes, will allow for an economic agenda similar to Hugo Chavez's and will not bring peace in Colombia nor economic or social well-being.
Under the agreement rejected by voters, the FARC's 5,800 fighters and a similar number of urban militia members would have disarmed, handing over their weapons to the United Nations team over the next 6 months and become a legal political party. Rank and file fighters were expected to be granted amnesty, while those involved in war crimes to be judged in special tribunals with reduced sentences. The referendum result has thrown all of those plans into disarray and the future of the country into confusion. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, at least 52 people were killed and many more injured in Ethiopia's Oromia region during a protest at a religious festival. The stampede occurred in one of the East African country's most politically sensitive regions, which has seen months of sometimes deadly demonstrations demanding wider freedoms. An estimated 2 million people were attending the annual Irecha Thanksgiving festival in the town of Bishoftu, southeast of the capital Addis Ababa, when people began chanting slogans against the government. According to witnesses, some people died in a stampede after police employed tear gas, rubber bullets and baton charges. Some reports said police responded after anti-government protesters threw stones and bottles, but others said demonstrators were entirely peaceful. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn claimed rioters had caused pre-planned mayhem that led to people to fall to their deaths in ravines. He also denied reports that the security forces had opened fire. And finally, some sports news now. On to some news from the cricket field. India were 227 for 8 at stumps after day 3 against New Zealand in the second test in Kolkata. The hosts now lead by 339 runs with 2 wickets in hand in their second innings. The Indians were pushed hard in the first 2 sessions but came back in the final session to close the day at 227 for the loss of 8 wickets. Riddhiman Saha and Bhuvneshwar Kumar were at the crease. Reduced to 91 for 5, the home team was rescued by Rohit Sharma and Saha, who had scored an unbeaten half-century in the first innings as well. The two put on 103 runs of 179 deliveries to steer India out of trouble. Rohit scored 82 runs. Earlier, India grabbed a massive 124-run lead after wrapping up the visitors for 204 in their first innings. In reply to India's 316 in the first innings, New Zealand were bundled out in the first hours of play. Bhuvnesh Kumar claimed 5 wickets for 48 runs and Mohammad Shami took 3 wickets for 70 runs, while the spin duo of Ravindra Jadeja and R. Ashwin took 1 wicket apiece. India lead the 3-match series 1-0 after their 197-run win in the Kanpur Test. That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.